Hello, I'm Crickets, and welcome back to I Have a Story. With today being No King's Day, I want to ask, why are we not saying this about all the kings in our country? Why are we only against one? So many kings in our country. Why do we wait till now? We should have been against these kings all along. Aren't you a king when you run on a race card? Does this look like a black woman who cherishes the black culture and came from a black culture? Doesn't that make you a king? Well, how about even a little deeper? Literally, you start out your career as a hoe? For real? And we're supposed to look at you as a person of value? Oh, wait, it gets even better. Doesn't kings and queens sleep their way to the top? I'm sure she was with him. I mean, look how handsome he is when she was 29 and he was 60. Oh, well, it even says in here, I might have influenced her career along with other people. And it's kind of funny down here. I can't read this, hurt my eyes. It says in here, I don't owe him anything. No, you already made your pussy payments. Of course you don't owe him anything. And he says that she's really talented, but doesn't tell her what her talents are. I bet that is one prize pussy. Sorry about my language. For those of you who don't like to hear these words, we got to be strong Americans. Let's quit banning words and crying that words hurt. How do you handle real things in the world if the words hurt you? Oh, how about the Clintons? Yeah, hey, he admitted to having an affair with one of his office workers. But lied about it. I didn't do that. I didn't have sex with that woman. No, I didn't. But then he came out and said he did, so it's all okay, right? When does... there's only ever been two presidents that have ever stuck around the White House and never left. That's the Clintons and Obamas. Aren't those kings? Doesn't a king leave office but still sit there and maintain their power in office? I mean, come on, that's a king. Oh, it gets even better. I mean, Hillary started all the way back out in the Watergate scandal, but yet still got to continue in politics. Isn't that a king? I mean, doesn't a king sit and put up the Russiagate hoax as well? When do we remember all the ties the Clintons had with the Russians? But it's Trump is the one colluding with Russia, right? I mean, cash flowed into the Clinton Foundation. But they did more than just that. I remember this. I've talked about this on my channel before. I mean, doesn't a king get paid $500,000 to go give a speech in another country? Those are kings, right? I didn't remember this, but did you know Clinton was actually was a part of when Putin originally took power? He had his hands in this and was dealing with U.S. relations and the transfer of power to Putin. But Trump is the one colluding with Russia, right? If all that isn't bad enough, please, if you've never researched the Clinton body count, look at all the names on this list and how many of them surmised in mysterious ways, two different calibers in the back of the head. But that's suicide, and that's the other problem. I mean, kings get away with whatever they want, right? And there's no repercussions. How is it that so many people were going to testify against the Clintons that all sorts of different scandals? It's not even like it was just one case. There were many different ties to Clintons and bad things that people were going to testify, but yet they all just mysteriously die in mysterious ways. One guy's supposed to testify and ends up with 2 caliber bullets in the back of his head. But that's suicide. I'd like to see how he did that. It must have been a double. He must really have some flexibility. Or the guy who was supposed to testify against the Clintons that somehow committed suicide and then stuffed his own body into a duffel bag and cleaned up the whole scene so that there was no evidence. That's suicide. Yeah, that's what kings get away with, right? And so did Russian presidents get away with that stuff. Remember the Olympics, back when the Olympics were in Russia and when his teammates failed? Oh, how about this? Isn't a king somebody who never had a job before in his life, has no political experience whatsoever, comes up with absolutely absurd ideas? We're going to tax the rich and they're going to pay for it all, which, I mean, I'm kind of for that. I think rich people think too much about money. That's why they got rich, because that's where they put their heart and soul into, not families, communities, children. No, it's all about the mighty dollar and power. I'm against all the kings. I could come up with a cure for cancer and say one of three things. I'm either going to give it to you because I care and I love people in my country and I want them to be safe and healthy and survive. Or I could say I need some minor compensation for this. I put in work, effort, I understand financial compensation. Or I could say I've got the cure, but I want to become a god before I give it to you. You pay me to make me the richest man in the world, and I'll give it to you. This is why things cost so much, and it's the imbalance of finances and power. People charge more than they should in order to get that money. If they can get that kind of money, then they could have charged way less and done better for people. But they do for themselves. That's why I'm against the rich. One of the many reasons. Oh, isn't this a king? Somebody who can poison and toxify the entire planet? Please research if you've never seen this stuff. Third world countries who just village people who live off the land have no electronics, electricity, communications, but yet Mr. Gates decides he's going to toxify them and use them as guinea pigs and see what these chemicals do to their environment. I don't live in those third world countries. I sometimes wish I did because, God, it's so much simple life. Would be a lot easier than what mine has been and what most people are today in our wonderful modern society that is so much better. Isn't that a king? But he's doing it all for our own good and our benefit because he cares so much and he's such a guy of morals and values. Right? He's so full of morals and values that he's got a beautiful family. He's one of the richest men in the world. And he's got to go sleep with little girls. Oh yeah, we should trust him, right? But yet, he still walks free, still poison and toxifying the world, and telling us we need to eat bugs while he lives his lavish lifestyle. Isn't that a king? Isn't that what a king does to his peasants? Poison, toxify, you guys eat bugs while I go eat my steak. How about this? Aren't these kings when you're already worth tens of billions of dollars? And then something like COVID happens and say, hey, we can come out with a cure. You pay us to come out with a cure. And how many countries in the world paid ungodly money to Pfizer to come out with a cure for COVID? And what did Pfizer do? I mean, when you have $40 billion, you can't say, okay, thank you for giving us that money. Here we came up with a cure. Here you go. Again, just like I said, you had one of three options. Give it to the people. You're already godzillionaires. You could afford it. Made a modest living off of it and said, I just need a little bit. Or do exactly what they did. They more than doubled. Because when you have $40 billion, that's just not enough. Oh, yeah, that's right. We got Elon Musk now that we got to compete with. Those are the kings. Oh, speaking of Elon Musk, he's worth $500 billion, or who really knows. But this is a guy who joined a political office, give him his efforts and work to try to save our country money and talk about how our country finances need desperately. We're going to fall, drop if we don't take care of our finances. Cut everybody's finances out of the government except for his. And he's going to throw a fit like a little crybaby when he's the richest man in the world because you just need more. Part of how did he get to become the richest man in the world? Well, I really thank Elon for being honest and transparent and talk about these things. Look up the video how he made his first $1 million by selling fake flamethrowers and manipulating the shipping industry and the people into buying fake flamethrowers. This is a man we should trust, right? I honestly think Elon's one of the scariest men in the entire world. Oh, isn't this a king? When you're already greedy, insane rich, but you just need more and more and take more and take more and abuse your power and do everything this king has done, right? Net worth of $413 million off of $175,000 a year salary. Yep, that sounds like a king to me. We're all just a bunch of little peasants. Don't kings get away with things like intoxication, hit and run a driver or a pedestrian, and get away with it and still be walking free and not be charged or prosecuted? Or they just take his phone in his car? As far as I know, FBI still has his phone in his car, but since he's a judge, it's all okay, right? Or to be, how am I supposed to say this right? A sexual predator and still not be in jail, still be walking free, still not making headlines. Me or you, anyone, either one of those incidents would have happened to an everyday person. We would have been thrown on the headlines and thrown in jail. But if you got the right title and the right paycheck, you don't have to abide by the same laws. But I'm supposed to understand the laws myself and follow them myself when all I see around me is the laws being used, abused, and manipulated. But somehow I'm supposed to follow those. Well, that's right, because I'm a peasant. I'm not a king. Wow. Or to get caught committing severe crimes on a bench and be put back on the bench. That's not a king, right? But let's just go after Trump because he's affecting our everyday lives so much. Not our finances, our rights, our freedoms, our children. Yeah, let's just go after one king. Let the others just continue being kings and we'll continue being the peasants.